Hi everyone, welcome to the studio. Today I'm going to have a look at foils and texture. So I'm just going to play around with a few different variations on what you can do with a foiled sheet of clay and some texture. And there are literally lots and lots and lots of things you can do. So I've got a few bits and pieces that I'll run through as we run through the video. All right, so the first thing I have is a foiled sheet of clay and it's on a thick setting of the pasta machine. The reason I have it on a thick setting is because I'm going to add texture. If this was a very thin setting, then, you know, I may compromise the integrity of the clay if I press texture in and it's too thick or whatever. So I'm just using a thick sheet of clay to start off with. So the very most basic thing you can do is simply add texture to this. So you can start by, you know, just doing a few different little bits and pieces of manual texture. And you can end up with some really gorgeous things. How many different textural items do you have around your home that you can use to embed into your foiled sheet of clay? What I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how you can just put a piece of lace in, and I'm just going to simply go like this, and I'm going to press down. Sorry, I've got to stand up now to do it. I'm adding a bit of pressure. My clay is actually very soft. I'm using Primo clay. So I'm just adding pressure to this piece so that my clay has a nicely embedded surface. Now, I haven't added a release agent onto my texture because my foil is acting as a release agent anyway, so I haven't needed to do that. And I can simply remove that from the surface. See how it removed quite easily? And then I have a beautiful sheet of textured clay that you can do just about anything with. All right, I'm going to cut a little piece from that, and we'll just save that as a sample piece. So we'll move that one out of the way. Now I've got this piece here. What if I pull in some sticky tape, and what if I just pull off the foil that's on the surface? You will see that I'm going to be left with my gorgeous pattern. You may need to go over it a few times. Oops, sticking to my gloves. But I'm going to end up with an absolutely stunning pattern on my clay. Let's just do one more. And then I've got a nice area there I can show you and cut a sample from. Okay, let me just pull that up to show you. So you can see the difference between the two already, just a whole different look altogether. All right, let's cut a sample from this one. Oh, I love that one. Let's show you those together. There we go. Now the other thing I can do with this one is run it through the pasta machine. Because I started on a thicker setting anyway, I could run it through the pasta machine and end up with a nice flat sheet of clay if I want to use it in a different piece perhaps. And yeah, it's quite beautiful. All right, let's get the next piece, and I'm going to pull in some black clay. And what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to texture this first. Now, I probably should add a release agent, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to go like this, standing up again. And let's hope my lace doesn't get stuck in my clay. So I'm just giving a nice press down so that we're going to get the texture on the clay prior to adding the foil. All right, let's remove this now. And I can see I have a beautiful textured surface on my clay. I'm going to add my foiled paper to this now, and the idea is I'm going to burnish very, very, very carefully, very gently, because I only want the foil to stick to the raised areas. So I'm just going to go like this. Now, no pressure whatsoever, because if you apply too much pressure, you are actually going to flatten your texture. Sorry, had to think about that for a moment. All right, so I am just doing this nice and gently so that we just have it hopefully burnishing onto the surface. Just let me bring this piece of baking paper over, and I'm just gonna work over it a little bit more that way. Okay, let's see if we've managed to transfer now. Remember, we rip like a band-aid. Oops. Sorry about that. Okay, we're just going to pull this off the surface very carefully. And you can see we have a beautiful looking veneer, just gorgeous. So this was, as I said, very, very soft clay. I'm just taking a little sample piece from here. Now, what else could I do with this one? I can run it through the pasta machine to flatten it even again. So we'll just sit that one up there. So these two can get run through the pasta machine, and they'll just be a completely different look again. Now I'm going to bring in some white clay, and I have, look what I have here. Can you see that? It's kind of like the reverse foil. So I've got white clay, which is run through a medium thin setting of my pasta machine. I'm not adding texture to this sheet because I've kind of already got texture in my foil. So I'm actually going to place this down, and I'm going to burnish this onto my clay. Now I could do this on any color clay, and I would get a different look on each one. Quite stunning on black clay. You know, use a darker green, whatever you want to do. So I am applying a slight amount of pressure now, because remember, there was no texture on this sheet of clay to start with. Okay, so rip like a band-aid. You can see a few little pieces didn't come off, but I'm actually not overly concerned about that, because I'm going to pull in some pan pastels, and I'm now going to colour my clay. So I could leave it like this if I wanted to. Let me just pull it up and show you. I could leave it like this if I wanted to, which is quite beautiful. Or I can just get some pan pastels, run over the surface, and you can see the pan pastels don't actually affect the color of the foils. They simply glide over the surface beautifully. So I'm just adding a small amount here, and you notice I'm using one of the gorgeous applicator brushes. They're quite stunning, very easy to use, and when using on a flat sheet of clay, they are just perfect. Okay, so you get the idea. We're just going to darken in a couple of extra places and go over. In actual fact, pan pastels are great for layering. Awesome to keep in mind. That'll do us. Okay, let's pull these out. Oh, sorry. Gosh, I'm bumping everything today. All right, let's pull that from the surface and have a look at that one. Quite a stunning piece. So these are my finished pieces that I have used the lace on, and let's just run through them quickly. So this was foil on clay with texture added and left just like that. This was removed with sticky tape, and this was the sheet of clay flattened through the pasta machine. This was the clay which had lace added and then foil added. This was run through the pasta machine to create a thinner sheet, and this was the reverse foil, remember the one that had the lace on it, with pan pastels on the surface. So just by tweaking things ever so slightly, you can create a whole range of different looks. Now, you may end up with different looks if you use an ultra fine texture. So try something. This is one of Lucy's stamps. So try something with an ultra fine texture. Try some of your own homemade textures. This is a glue gun stamp. There are so many more ways that you can use texture with a foiled sheet of clay. So I hope you have fun experimenting with that. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.